Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.
Welcome to another episode of Sport in Wales, sponsored by DragonBet. And today we're lucky enough to have a guest who's obviously in the Wales squad, been released. But Owen Watkin, mate, how is things?
Yeah.
Going all right? How's the injury?
All good. Had knee operation, so slowly on the mend. It's just a rehab and again trying to get back in the swing of things really now. And
our other guest today, we're lucky enough because obviously the big game this weekend for Wales and Scotland. We have the legend, that is Rory Lawson, Gloucester legend. I can't believe how many caps we had for Gloucester. Definitely fair play. It's a good stint there. How are you, mate? How's things?
Yeah, good, thanks, Kathy. Bit busy time of year, but it's you know, what's not to love, eh? The spring has sprung, and now you know that this is proper Six Nations time. And look, I get fired up for Six Nations, albeit it was a bit of a gut punch going to Allianz Stadium and watching Scotland get edged out by England. That's always a sore one. But on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, well, watching that game, I couldn't believe you didn't win, really. But obviously a big game this weekend. Owen, obviously selected for the Six Nations this year, Wales, obviously injury-wise. How's the squad been? Obviously, you've probably spoken to a lot of the lads the last couple of weeks.
I think the boys have grown in confidence. I think what Matt has brought is a new philosophy to the way they want to play, I think.
Yeah.
You look at last weekend against Ireland, the amount of touches the backs got.
Yeah.
And they created so many opportunities. But I think from speaking to a lot of my friends in the squad, they're really looking forward to the weekend, and I think they're confident, and there's no reason why they can't and shouldn't be confident.
Yeah, we will see that. Right, we'll come to that after. I'm going to have a little quiz, Scotland v Wales quiz, bit of fun. Some of these, Owen, you will not have a clue, but Rory, you probably will. First one, which Scottish player became only the second player to be sent off in the Six Nations against Wales in 2006. I've seen the video and it is pretty brutal.
I was only 10 years old. So.
How old are you?
10 years old.
Do you want to have a guess?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Second row.
Scotty Murray.
Scotty Murray. He kicked Ian Goff straight in the face. On the floor.
It was an accident. An accident.
I watched the clip this morning, and to be fair, Goffey, the ball had gone about 5 minutes before, and he's just smashed him. And then obviously Scott Murray's just been like, "You're having this, mate." 2-footed, straight to the face.
And that's without TM. No need for TMO on that one. Yeah, I remember getting sent off in that one. It was actually Cardiff. Cardiff's been a bad hunting ground for Scotland when it's come to red cards.
There's been a few, isn't there? Hoggy had one.
Yeah,
Hoggy had one. Xander Ferguson had one down there, and then there was obviously the two back-to-back yellow cards in 2010. But anyway, I don't want to take away any stats from your quiz. Anyway, Kathy, all I know is that I'm 1 from 1, so that's take that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, mate, but I didn't need to. Next one, 2022 Six Nations game between Wales and Scotland marked a debut for two key players in the squads at the moment. Can you name them?
22. Was that home or away? Was that in Murrayfield or...?
Well, it's just two players that made their debut.
It was Cardiff.
They're probably looking to be on that tour this
Jack Morgan.
Jack Morgan's one, yeah. Obviously the other one's Scottish.
Well, I'm Scottish. 2022, that's not that long ago, so they must be...
He's got big arms. I think he's got big arms. Back row.
Oh. What, Rory Darge?
Rory Darge, yeah.
Was it Darge? Was it?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, marked a debut, which is...
Proper youngster.
Yeah.
They would have gone toe to toe as well.
Yep.
Both
so obviously they probably will be on the weekend as well, won't they? So two top players, aren't they? Like we said, they're probably in the reckoning for that Lions spot, aren't they? We're bringing up a bit of hurt from Scotland. In 2010, during the famous 31-24 game, what was the score with 3 minutes to go? You didn't play that one, Roy, did you?
No. It would have been would it be 24-19 or 24-17 maybe?
Was that the one when Shane scored?
Yeah, Shane scored, yeah. It was a mental game. I joined the year after that. This was the infamous Andy Powell on the buggy night out. Yeah. Oh. He ruined it for all of our nights out after that because we all had curfews at the Vale. We always had to go back to the Vale after games rather than straight to town.
And he was in a buggy.
Yeah, well, he was down the motorway, 33 junction 33. Subway was closed. It was 24-14.
24-14.
Yeah. 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Could be like that on the weekend.
Yeah, it was Scotland were down to 13, I think, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that was it's the same game you wouldn't remember, but that was Chris Patterson's 100th cap. And he tore his kidney or his liver, made a tackle.
Yeah.
And the boot of I can't remember who it was, but got under his rib cage and tore his kidney or liver or something. So he was.
Well, he dug in. He played the rest.
He got taken off. But then Scotland went down to 13 in the last few minutes, and I think I was there. I think I was injured, but I was there, and it was just. I've never heard the Millennium as it was then as loud ever. As that.
You just never expect something like that to happen, would you?
Was half as young. He was on the wing end, but he was young when he was.
Yeah, he was about 12. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I was 6 at the time.
Yeah. Obviously, next one. Last year, Scotland won in Cardiff for the first time in how many years? And that was a hell of a game, wasn't it? I remember.
Oh yeah.
Did you play that?
I played. We were getting battered when we half time.
Yeah, smashed.
And then Thomas Williams just carved it for us.
Owen Lloyd.
That
was I think, other than the weekend just gone, that was the best atmosphere that's been in the stadium for a long, long time. There was some game.
Yeah. That was the first Scotland win in Cardiff for 22 years.
Wow, it's mad that, isn't it? 22. Scotland was my last game, actually. Is
that right?
Yeah, 22 years, bang on. Yeah.
There you go, because that was my papa, Bill McLaren's last commentary. And that was at the Millennium Stadium, 2002. I still remember it vividly. Walking across the Angel Hotel, walking over to the stadium with him, and it took him about, for those who don't know, it's 400 yards over the road to get to the Millennium Stadium, the Angel Hotel. It took him about 40 minutes. Just people just wanted to stop him and shake his hand and say hello, and everybody sung for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" in the stadium before that game.
How long did that 400 yards take?
Yeah, it took a while. But yeah, it was an amazing day. We had all the family there. I played for the under 21s the night before. My brother played for Scottish students the night before as well. So
that's
it was a big.
Yeah, I bet that's some weekend. I'd always say that must be some feeling. I don't know why Wales don't do that walk from Angel.
Yeah, because that'd
be so cool, wouldn't it?
Meant to walking on the high street when it'd be. Because the bus is wild enough, I think, going down before you get to the stadium. So if you walked...
Well, you would have done the best 2019 Grand Slam.
Yeah.
The last game, what was that like?
It was just... It was like... Obviously, every game it's rammed and packed there, but that was just... It was so loud and noisy because it was on the line for us. We lost that game. We'd have finished third, wouldn't we, I think? Yeah. And obviously, we won a Grand Slam. It was just...
Did they put the speakers from the outside into the bus? They did that for us in 2013 maybe, before England, and you could put the sound outside into the bus, so they're like, boys, take your headphones off, and they made us listen to the noise all the way in, and everyone was seeing their family members everywhere. Everyone was going wild. Come off the bus, boys were like, right, yeah, who's happening? Security staff. But yeah.
It's become a bigger thing now, though, hasn't it? Like, if you think about Toulon down there, the bus drops them off a couple of 100 yards from the stadium, and it's a tunnel of people welcoming them there. Like, at Murrayfield this weekend, the pipes and drums will pipe Scotland in slow motion, and then the crowd's all gathered round it. It's obviously slightly different at the Principality because obviously, you turn in, but then you go down underneath the stadium, don't you? So you're away from any of the fandom that comes with it, but there's definitely something there that there could, is there an opportunity? Maybe in that last weekend against England, maybe that's when they should kick it off. But walking down the streets and actually, connecting with the fans, because it's such a big thing. The emotion of it, not only from a player's perspective and coach's perspective, but from the fans' perspective, it builds that physical connection with people.
100%. That's why we all all love the Six Nations, isn't it? I always used to love playing Scotland away because of that factor, that little bus trip in. The amount of, it's mad, isn't it? That area, when you go past that, I can't remember what the pub's called now, on the corner, and then you obviously get your double fingers now and then, and
it's the same in England, though, isn't it? You walk through the crowd at Allianz Stadium, isn't it? So it is epic.
The banter's not quite the same from the English than the Scottish, I'll be honest. Right, it'd be remiss of me not to mention weekend just gone, Ospreys against Glasgow, Owen. What a win that is, considering both teams are missing 20 players, a lot of young talent on show. I know obviously Rory is from the Scottish side, but you obviously are not a Glasgow supporter or anything like that. But as an Ospreys in the squad, how big a win was that?
For us as a club, it was massive. In the league, we probably haven't been doing as well as we should be with the players we got. But getting 5 points out there was massive for us. And I think playing against a team like Glasgow, how successful they've been at home, I think it's 2021 since the last league game they lost it.
Yeah.
But it was massive for us, and I thought every player that was on the pitch for the Ospreys just put in a huge performance, and that's what it would have took to beat them. And I'm so chuffed for the boys. Obviously you'd love to be out there and celebrating that win with them.
Yeah, Roy, what's the crack with Glasgow? What's the feeling in Scotland? Obviously winning the league, European, I think, is what they're probably aiming for, isn't it? And the squad they've got there now with Franco Smith is pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And look, that would have been a massive, massive gut punch for Glasgow Warriors, because home games, particularly, the weekly league home games, Glasgow Warriors hadn't lost for a long time. They have lost knockout games there previously. They remarkably went on the road 3 times away from home in the knockout stages to win the URC last year. But that would have been a game that many people would have just ticked that box straight away, thinking Glasgow have won it. So it's a huge blow for the Warriors, and also a huge lift for the Ospreys. And I have to say, when I saw that result at the weekend, my first instinct was that could and should lift the Welsh hopes as well, because if you think about the mirroring of that carrying into the weekend, Ospreys would have travelled on the road with hope, not expectation, but they've gone up there, they've pulled a win out of the hat in the last moments of the game, and psychologically that's a big boost, because there would have been a couple of Glasgow players from the Scotland squad went back there to play at the weekend, albeit not the starters, the front liners, but. That would have been a psychological blow. I would say. So Franco Smith's done an incredible job. Glasgow Warriors will want to go to the depths of the knockout stages of Europe and really test themselves, but they also want to go and defend the URC. So that was a bit of a knock, albeit they're still in a very strong position for the top 4 at a home round in the knockouts.
Yeah, they're just sort of keeping tabs on Leinster, aren't they? Because obviously Leinster are unbeaten. Just a quick one on Edinburgh. Rory, a great win against Munster, wasn't it? Smashed them, really. Obviously, I know the scoreline probably doesn't really reflect the game, really, does it? But it was a great win, that.
Yeah, they needed it. They lost to Zebre at home, and that was a really low moment. Edinburgh, for too long now, haven't been hitting the heights that a squad of their talent pool should be hitting.
Proper squad there, isn't it?
And I think it was, but that was a huge win for them to go on the road to Munster, albeit Munster without a number of their frontliners with the Ireland squad, but to go over there and put in such a dominant display. I think they ended up with 8 scrum penalties or something, physically dominant throughout the game. The scoreline probably flattered Munster with a score late on, but I think that was a win that Edinburgh were desperate for, and can hopefully act as a bit of a springboard to the final part of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I just want one chatting point on Boise, Mark Jones. What has he done
to change
since you've lost one game, I think, since he's come back, and just the way you play it, you're scoring tries. You've still got a set piece. What's he done?
I don't know. I feel like it's sort of clicking for us now. Boise's philosophy is obviously he wants to move the ball, and he's really keen on boys getting offloads away. And I think the biggest change is in training. He's quite comfortable with mistakes. Whereas maybe in past times, boys would be on edge and try not to throw the offload because if it doesn't come off, you might get in trouble or have you. But he's really comfortable with boys making errors and making those decisions. If his reason behind decisions and the accuracy a little bit off or execution, he's quite happy to live with that. But you can see through our results and through the tries we're scoring, the backs especially getting so much more touches. We're not just relying on our dominance up front. And I think the boys are really loving the style of play they're playing at the minute.
I'm gutted. I left at the wrong time. I left at the wrong time.
Too early.
Gutted. But yeah, it is what it is. Right, lads, massive game this weekend. We got to get on to it. Scotland v Wales, always a great game up there. I'm going to come to you, Rory. Is Gregor Townsend under the pump this weekend if they lose to Wales?
Yeah, no doubt. I think you know, I did a pod the other day, and you know, I chucked into the mix that coming into the tournament had it been suggested that Scotland would be 1 win from 4, which it would be if they didn't beat Wales on Saturday. It would be kind of incomprehensible. You know, this is a Scotland side who had a good autumn, who have 3 home games in this championship, and you know, who go on the road to Paris in that final round. And I think so. It would be a huge backward step if Scotland were to have to go to Paris looking to win, to salvage anything from the tour, the championship. I think Gregor Townsend has a good squad here. They put in a performance without the result down at Allianz Stadium. They were comfortably beaten against Ireland, and you know, comfortably won against Italy. They've got to get over the hurt of the England game, because they'll know that was an opportunity lost, and I think they'll be able to do that. But Scotland they're due a performance. The pressure is on to perform, and they're due a performance for 80 minutes to show up and really show what they're about. This is the last home game now until the November tests, and I think the Scottish crowd expects, albeit, you know, there is a different narrative now to Wales. There's, you know,
isn't it? I think, yeah. I
know Matt Sherratt a little bit, and I really like him as a bloke, and I just think it doesn't make a mockery of the sport in general when you can have just literally a new voice come in for a couple of days in a game that everyone talks about being complicated and complex, and he actually just lifts a weight off players and says, "You're good rugby players. I want to bring a different mindset to the way that you play the sport that you play. I want you to go out there and enjoy it. I want you to get your hands on the ball and attack the opposition." Yeah. And suddenly it's not only changed the mindset of the guys in the squad when they start seeing the rewards that can give them, but also it's lifted the hopes of the nation. I don't think it's gone, you know, it's overstating it to say that now there's a nation that is proud of a team that they're watching in a very short space of time, because they can get behind it. They can show the effort and energy and a mindset that says, we want to, you know, we want to play good rugby, and if we're not going to win, then we're not going to, you know, then we're going to do so playing a brand of rugby that is going to inspire people and get young people playing the game, not just let's just limit the scoreboard, try and turn it into an arm wrestle and hope that we get out on the right side of the result.
Yeah, I've never been, you know, after a game, I've never been, obviously in town, I went to Shanks he has like a locker room events after we went there after. It was like we won the game. I've never ever witnessed that. After losing the game in Wales, people were actually praising. Usually we get absolutely slated, but it was unbelievably the feeling around everyone. What difference do you think he's just come in and done compared to obviously Warren? You probably don't have to go into too much depth, but
I think like Rory said, it's a change of voice, change potentially the way they want to play, and it's probably like a refreshing for the boys. And I think it does help in a way that we are under no pressure. Nobody's expecting us to beat Scotland on the weekend, but I think Scotland are expecting to win. So I think the boys can be confident in what they've shown against Ireland, and obviously they've had an extra week now to prepare for this game. But obviously it's good to see the Welsh public and fans really get back in the boys now and get on the side, because as a player you never go out there to lose, and obviously it hasn't gone to plan over the last 12 months of results, but it's not through the lack of effort or trying or wanting to win, because trust me, the boys in the squad are desperate to win, and I just hope this weekend is the time for us.
Yeah. On Dragon Bet odds, you can have a look at Scotland are 2-13 to win, Wales 7-1, which I think Wales is plus 16. So Scotland are pretty overwhelming favourites, aren't they, Roy? In terms of like the way they played against England. If they can control what they did in terms of if they can get the execution right, they are a really top side, aren't they, Scotland? What is the next thing that Scotland need to get that consistency? Because they have it into abundance in terms of quality, but they just seem to really lack that that finer last 2%. Would you say?
Yeah, Cathy, for me, the biggest area that I expect Scotland would have focused on over the past 10 days or so would be that red zone attack.
Yeah.
If you consider Scotland had eight entries to the Welsh 22 from 8 set piece starting plays within
the 22,
the England 22, and came away without any points from those. They scored all 3 tries from starter plays that started outside, and there was only one try that came with a phase in the 22, and it was that last one, that last Duhan van der Merwe try, whereby Stafford McDowell got the inside ball off the midfield play and came from nowhere, got into the 22. They went one more phase and then got out to Duhan to score. But I think Scotland I felt they were a little bit panicked and forced things and tried creating quick ball without necessarily winning collisions in that red zone. And I think England defence drove them backwards, and Scotland ended up panicking a little bit as a result. So I think they'll have looked in that area. They'll look to get the maul. They'll have done some work on the line-out maul as well, because now that if you're going to get opportunities in the red zone, and if you come away inside the 22 or 25 metres from the line, those starter plays, if you come away with one score in 4, you're going to be in a strong position. Scotland are at their most dangerous in that middle third starting place. So like lineouts and scrums, whereby the opposition have to have a back 3 in the backfield, so they're attacking fewer defenders, and they've got some devastating line breakers. And I think so. I think they'll have looked at that red zone attack. Largely speaking, England scored from their only meaningful attack against Scotland. The non-try of Tommy Freeman that didn't get downed, but that was another thing. I mean, just ridiculous. But I think they'll have continued to try and get better in every area. But I think red zone, particularly when you're at home and you want the crowd to get into the game, and the crowd will get excited when you get into the red zone. I think Scotland, if they're clinical in there, then I expect them to win the game. Albeit I'm surprised that there's a 16-point head start for Wales.
Yeah, I think Wales, to be fair, I thought defended pretty well in their red zone. Other than maybe the first try that Ireland scored, Wales did defend that area quite well. It's just more patience, isn't it, in that area of the field? I think that they're going to get opportunities. This week, obviously, Derry Lake is back fit. You think he's going to be in the squad, isn't he? Yeah, he's going to make a big difference, isn't he? Within I think someone of his calibre and
what he can bring regarding his physicality, and him on the park. He's a big bloke and he's so physical. I think he's got to be involved in the 23. Whether you start or not, I don't know. But I think knowing he's coming back in the mix is a big boost. For everyone. Obviously, he's captained Wales numerous times, so I think his leadership as well will be really, really important for this weekend. Yeah, he'd be going for that. He's obviously in the talking point for Lions, isn't he? In terms of the way Wales are going to play, they're obviously going to limit Scotland to a lot of starters, aren't they? Because that's where they're probably strongest. Yeah. There'll be a lot of kicking, do you think, in that middle third, definitely? I think so, yeah. I think they're obviously going to manage the middle of the park really well. And like Rory said, Scotland's attack off first phase around the halfway line they cause England a huge amount of problems. I think that 13 channel, it's so hard to defend. I think if boys inside don't apply enough pressure, it puts the 13 and wings in a lot of difficult positions. But I think if you can limit their starters there, I think we're in a real chance of a good test. Scotland side, Rory, obviously a couple of injuries. Dempsey's out. He's not fit, is he? Do you think Scotland would change much team-wise against Wales, or? I wouldn't anticipate. I think Darcy Graham might come back in. If so long as he's they deem him
to have fully recovered from his head knock.
Yeah,
so
pretty nasty, wasn't it?
It was a nasty one. He was, I think, again, he passed all the processes leading into the England game.
Yeah.
But he had a knock back in November, a head knock back in November, and then he had another one against Ireland. I think Scotland made the right decision by holding him back for that England game. So he might come back in. He's such a devastating player. They've shuffled a little bit around. The Schoeman-Sutherland combination. I don't really anticipate that they'll make many changes. For me, there are a number of guys who have played well but are due a big game. And I know Finn very well, and having spoken to him at Murrayfield after both the Italy and Ireland games, he wasn't happy with his performances at either of those.
Yeah. He
ran the game very well against England, but didn't, missed his kicks. I think there was one of his kicks that was the first conversion was just outside the 50-meter line. He would expect to nail that 95 times out of 100.
Yeah.
So he would have been disappointed with that one. And then the last kick at goal was again a shambles from the referee, forcing him out wide. Finn's expectation, though, as a 90% goal kicker, is to nail those, and it would have been very, very like Finn. I have to say the response when it comes to Lions talk of, as Finn missed an opportunity there to, is he dropping down the pecking order, is just ridiculous. It shows, and I saw Nick Mallett saying he wouldn't have Finn on the tour. It's just, these people are, just ridiculous. So,
clickbait that.
Yeah, exactly. Finn is due a big game.
Yeah.
He is due a big game, and I think the key thing for Scotland is that they don't spoon feed Wales opportunities by trying to do too much too early in the game.
Yeah.
And Wales will look to disrupt Scotland. And look to create 50-50s or force errors from which they can counterattack and cause problems. You guys know better than most that if the turnover ball still, when when your defense isn't ready, is the best ball to play off. But if Tomas Williams then ends up, he is a live wire at scrum half. He is a brilliant operator and will look to bring that tempo and element of surprise to the way that Wales play. So I think Scotland need to be careful not to, hang themselves to a certain extent by trying to do too much too soon.
Yeah, it'd be interesting really. Say if the game is close, 60-65, how much pressure, obviously all the pressure on Scotland, if those boys can sort of handle it, I guess, isn't it? That would be the big one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in some ways, it's a positive that the narratives change with regards to Wales.
Yeah.
At the start of the tournament, most teams would have been saying Wales are in proper strife. It's a 5-pointer for, particularly when Wales are away from home. But I think that even just one performance against Ireland will really have sharpened the focus of Scotland. They will know that they will expect a very competitive Welsh side to come and throw everything they've got at Scotland. Scotland should know that if they are an 8 or 9 out of 10 at their game, that they should win the game with a bit to spare, because they've got that length of time together as a squad. They all understand how they look to play, and they've got players who can properly unlock a game. But it's sport. We never know. There's the psychology of it. There's the physicality of it. We never know. And I guess we're not going to be able to influence it the weekend, so we can watch on and see it all unfold.
Yeah, we love talking about it. I do think mindset-wise, being at home is such a big, isn't it? And then suddenly, obviously, with Wales having that really good period, obviously in Ireland at home. But you're probably expected to put performance at home. It's when you go away, isn't it? That is where we'll see what this squad has made up mindset-wise, isn't it?
And I think, like you said, obviously Ireland, the performance was a lot better, but you don't want to just be a one-off performance. You want to see the squad sort of grow and evolve now going into this weekend, and obviously England at home then. I think But that's like I think an important point for me is obviously a fan now watching my friends and the boys players for it not to be a one-off and really grow. And hopefully over the last week they've obviously adapted the game, worked on things that went wrong against Ireland, and going into this game on Saturday they've sort of dot the I's and cross the T's ready for it.
Yeah. So Rory, what do you reckon?
From your boys' point of view, sorry, Cathy. From your boys' point of view, I guess Wales are very much. They'll say we're focused on ourselves. We've got to get ourselves right. But when they look at Scotland, where are the areas that you reckon they'd go after Scotland? They'd look to attack and try and expose something.
I think the way Scotland defend, they don't come with like mental line speed, do they? So they like to double up a lot, don't they? So I think Wales played a lot out the back against Ireland. So whether they play a little bit more front line, because I think. And try and really get that border speed, and then try and get to edges, because I think you can attack Van der Meer on the edge. I don't think he makes great decisions, and obviously it depends if Darcy's in. Yeah. He will make the odd decision as well. That was something that Wales did really well, wasn't it, with their back three? Yeah. I think Wales will kick a lot in the middle third. I think Tommy Rogers and Ellis Smee very good under high ball. I wouldn't say the Scottish boys are as good, but obviously Kinghorn is pretty solid as well. So they'll probably avoid Kinghorn as much as possible, I think, back three. And where Matt Sherritt, I think, is strongest is probably his starter place. Yeah. I think that's where they would have had another week together, and that's something they'll probably go after, especially around that sort of area, sort of the peel where in between Finn and the edge of that line. I think that could be a good little area that they go after.
I think as well, look, if they go Jack Moggs and Tommy Reffel again, the breakdown, I think they're both huge threats over the ball, and I think if they're right on the game, they could win us obviously a lot of penalties. So I think a breakdown, if we can disrupt the sort of speed of ball and stuff, will make a huge difference to the outcome of the game.
Yeah, so first three phases against Scotland, isn't it? You slow that down, you don't give Finn, he'll end up trying things, those missed passes, but as a winger, I've said it in the week, Finn Russell is one of the hardest players to defend against, because he can drop, pass, late and kick. So you think, I'll come at line speed, I'm going to read this ball, and he'll kick it. Flat ball. I remember playing them 2 years ago, my last game, and I was flying up thinking, I got this. And he'd drop a little kick straight over the top, and I'm like, having to run back and tackle Van der Meer on full pace. You're like, here we go. So,
his kick pass is pretty special.
He's one of the best. I think he's probably the best 10 at that in terms of the players I played against.
I think like you play against people like Finn Russell and Dupont, and a lot of coaches say, send a 7 after him all day. But I think the more you focus sending one player on him, it opens up different seams for him. That he's so clever, he can play into them. So I think obviously you want to apply pressure on him, but don't go out the system trying to chase him and doing, because I think it'll just turn disastrous for us.
Yeah, when we played up there a couple of years ago, Scotland were absolutely pure. They were on fire. Yeah. We let them just do their thing in attack, and you can't stop it. So it'd be really interesting with Jack Moore. It's going to be everyone slowing the ball down, isn't it? Not just Jack and Tommy Rafal. So big job defensively. So obviously another big game that weekend we'll quickly cover is Ireland-France. That's the tournament really, isn't it? Whoever wins that, would you say, is probably going to go on and win the tournament? Obviously France have got a pretty tough game at home against Scotland. Ireland got Italy. What do you reckon with that one, Draw?
Yeah, well, I think as we've mentioned, emotion a little bit, and this is going to be Peter O'Mahony, Conor Murray, your old pal, and Cian Healy's last game in Dublin. Yeah, and we saw what France did against Italy last time out. They inflicted the hurt that they took from going to Allianz Stadium and butchering 25 points in the first quarter. Out on the Italians, and they'll have to up the levels again to go to Dublin and beat Ireland. I think it'll be an amazing game, because you've got two sides who are so good, who play a good brand of rugby. The physicality will be off the scale. I expect the standards just will be off the scale. The quality of both of those rugby teams and the individuals within them is massive, and this really matters. So I think it'll be a massive game, tough one to call. So I'd probably just edge on Ireland with the home advantage. Yeah,
I think Ireland on Dragon Bet, you can look, they're 17-20 on. France win or 11-10 tight. I think it's +1 France. So I was over in Dublin on the weekend with RTE, and they were nervous. a lot of the Irish are nervous, especially how well France played. You got Entomac coming back, a couple of boys in the front row. They look hungry, and especially because they haven't won in Ireland for a long time, have they? They've had
and I think like France is so powerful up front. It's like when we played, I only played 20 minutes, but it's like
what was that like?
It was just like it's like a tsunami on you, and like you just can't get rid of that pressure. Like, and I think they're so dominant up front and so powerful. It is going to be a physical game. It's one really exciting to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think it will really. If France can win, it will open up the competition massively, wouldn't it? Yeah. For England. Obviously, France, their points difference is so inferior at the moment, isn't it? It's like plus 90. So if France win, they probably go on and win, don't they? I think, depending on obviously how they go against Scotland, because Scotland could, they've got their game in them. So we'll see. And then obviously the other game, England v Italy. Boring England, apparently. They win 2 games in a row, and they're getting worse off now when they were losing 5-6 in a row, isn't it?
Well, that one will be interesting, I have to say. With England, they're at home again, and I suppose the pressure on England is the fact that they've managed to sneak 2 1-point wins, playing no rugby at all, and now they're going to come up against a team who got pumped by 70 at home a couple of weeks ago, and so the expectation is that England should win by 50, but they're not going to win by 50 playing the way they've played against France and Scotland over the past 2 rounds. I actually think that Italy could trouble them and score points against them if they try and play that way, because they've done nothing in attack. They've played rugby by data and numbers, and it's worked. I kind of
was it Moneyball, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's being at England, being at Allianz Stadium, the fans were not happy. They were a bit embarrassed actually to have won the game. Wow. They weren't like it's the least sort of bolshy I've seen them, and I think England were quite fortunate in that probably 50 minutes in they were just doing the standard box kicking nonsense, and Alex Mitchell hadn't actually box kicked very well, and the jeers were starting, and then he put his best box kick of the day up, and the crowd jeered and booed. But because it was the best one, Freeman actually tackled Van der Merwe, drove him back 5 meters, and the jeer turned into a cheer. Yeah. And it was just one of those. But right. I think Italy will go and look for a response after that huge loss to France. I still expect England to win by 25 points, but I think there's a different approach they need to take to be able to win over the fans at Allianz Stadium, because winning games against Scotland and France, that is one thing, but now the fans expect more.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think as well, Scotland caused England a lot of trouble in their starter plays. And I think Italy, with Brex and Menoncello in centre, those play together, real difficult to defend. The way Brex takes the ball to the line, pulls it back, or puts Menoncello through. So I think those starter plays with Italy and getting those two on the ball can cause England some problems. I still think England will beat them, but I think if Italy look to play and shift the ball, I think they could cause them some trouble.
Yeah. All right. We'll go back to what do you reckon Scotland and Wales then? What's your prediction, Ro?
Look, I'm as a Scot and a glass very much half full Scot. I think I expect Scotland to turn up with a big performance, and they'll be against a very capable and driven Welsh squad. But I think Scotland should have too much, and I want to say maybe a win by 10 points. But I think when you talk about Matt Sheraton, when you talk about Gregor Townsend, you've got 2 coaches who want their teams to play rugby. And I think we could have an absolute belter of a game. I'd expect Wales to score points. I'd expect Scotland to score points. Here's hoping that we end up just with a cracking game with loads of tries and open field running. Because I think for me, it's what both the fans of the teams want. And welcoming the Welsh fans up to Edinburgh is always brilliant. So it was set for a cracking day. 4:45 kickoff as well is always
it's gonna be a messy one by 6. Just strolling back into Edinburgh or the Welsh after a good game. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think both teams will score 4 tries at least. But I'm just praying the boys.
Gee, that'd be some game if it was.
I just pray the boys. I feel like, not saying obviously we've lost because of bad luck over the last 12 months, but I feel like our luck's got to turn at some point. We've got to win a game at some point, I think.
Scotland are thinking that as well, mate.
Yeah, I know, but with my Welsh hat on you, I'm backing the boys to get a result on the weekend.
Right, okay. A quick one. Ireland, you've obviously gone Ireland. Rory, what do you reckon?
Yeah, Ireland, I think.
Ireland?
As well, yeah.
I'm going France. I think Wales, England next week, we're going to break their hearts. It will be good. Thanks, lads, for joining. Rory, thanks. I know you're a busy man. I may catch you up on Saturday at the game. I know you're doing my hospitality. And Owen, thanks for joining, mate. Hopefully all good for the recovery. But cheers, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Sport in Wales podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on all socials for all things Sport in Wales.
Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by Dragon Bet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.